Good evening. Welcome to brass-tacks. I'm Zaka Jacob. We're coming to you live from New Delhi. But tonight, all the focus of the entire nation is on Baramati, where this morning there was a terrible, an absolutely tragic air accident involving the Deputy Chief Minister of Maharashtra, Mr. Ajit Pawar, that happened just moments before landing. Mr. Pawar, along with 4 others, was traveling from Mumbai to Baramati. He was supposed to have a few public meetings, address a few public meetings there in Baramati. The flight was a short one from Mumbai to Baramati. The flight took off at about 8:10 a.m. At about 8:43, the captain is given clearance by the ATC in Baramati to land at runway number 11. The captain tries to make descent. Then suddenly there is communication that she can't see the runway, that visibility is low, and then she's asked to make a turn around. It's in the second attempt while she's trying to land that this terrible accident happens. And now we're showing you the latest pictures. These are CCTV images that have just come into CNN News 18, and you can see the final moments where the plane is veering off its flight path. Now, why it's doing so, it's tapering off from its flight path. Whether this is because of some kind of mechanical failure, engine failure, human error, we don't know. All we can see is that the flight is moving away from its trajectory, moving away from its flight path, and just papering off. It's just completely wavering off from its traditional flight path. So at 8:45 is when this happens, and then moments later, the plane crashes just outside the runway and the complex of the Baramati airport. Now, many questions are swirling around. Was this because of inclement weather, as was suggested? Apparently visibility there because of fog conditions was under question. There's also some questions now being asked about whether there was any mechanical issue. Was this flight 100% airworthy? There's been a crash with a similar jet by the same company, run by the same company a few years ago, so those questions are swirling as well. But first, I want to play reactions to you from the entire political class from Maharashtra to Delhi who've been in utter shock because Ajit Dada Pawar was a towering figure in Maharashtra politics. He's been almost a constant presence in various dispensations over the last many decades in Maharashtra politics. And I want to play out reactions from the Prime Minister downwards. The Prime Minister, the Home Minister, they've spoken to the family of Mr. Ajit Pawar. Let's play out some reactions.
आज सुबह ही महाराष्ट्र में दुखद विमान दुर्घटना हुई है। इस दुर्घटना ने महाराष्ट्र के उप मुख्यमंत्री अजीत पवार जी और कुछ साथियों को हमसे छीन लिया है। अजीत दादा ने महाराष्ट्र और देश के विकास में अपना बड़ा योगदान दिया है। विशेष रूप से गांवों के जीवन को बेहतर बनाने के लिए उन्होंने हमेशा आगे बढ़कर काम किया।
बहुत ही दुख का वातावरण तैयार हुआ है। हम सभी के लिए इस प्रकार के जननेता को खोना एक अपरिमित इस प्रकार की हानि है। व्यक्तिगत मेरे लिए वो एक बहुत ही दमदार और दिलदार इस प्रकार के मित्र थे और हम दोनों ने साथ में काफी संघर्ष का काल भी देखा है।
मैं जब दोबारा लैंड करने आए तब भी उनसे पूछा गया था कि विजिबिलिटी है कि नहीं रनवे का, तो उसके बाद पहले तो उनका समाधान नहीं आया, फिर उसके बाद आया कि विजिबिलिटी है। तो लैंडिंग क्लियरेंस जैसी एटीसी ने दिया उसके बाद तुरंत देखा गया कि ये एक्सीडेंट हुआ है। बहुत दुखद घटना है, तो इसके ऊपर और जानकारी हमें मिलनी चाहिए। इन्वेस्टिगेशन पूरी तरह से ट्रांसपेरेंट और अकाउंटेबल वे में हम करेंगे।
The aircraft was very well maintained. There was absolutely no problem in the aircraft. There was no technical failure in the aircraft. You know, the DGC is doing their work. So please give us some time to handle first the families who have lost their lives, handle the DGCA, and then we'll get back.
So the DGCA has ordered an inquiry. The Aircraft Accidents Investigation Board team has also reached the crash site in Baramati. Lots of questions as to what could have possibly caused this crash? We have seen crashes. Just recently we saw the Air India crash back in June of last year. But I want to go across to our guests who are now joining us. Shaina NC, the spokesperson of the Shiv Sena, Chandrasekhar Jha, Sena UBT leader. Dr. Sumit Sushilan is an aviation expert, and Captain Sam Thomas is the former pilot and president of the Airline Pilots Association of India. Thank you very much for joining us. Shaina NC, I don't want to get into the politics. Mr. Sharad Pawar has also said this is an accident. Let's not politicize it. But many, many questions are swirling around, ma'am. Why did this accident happen? Was it some kind of mechanical or engine failure? Was it a pilot error? Questions also being asked about weather and visibility. After the ATC had given landing clearance and the captain had confirmed, yes, that she's trying to land, she was then asked to do a go around because suddenly visibility dropped and she couldn't see the runway. Many, many questions that, folks who are watching this program across the country are wanting answers to.
Well, Zaka, first family, the extended family of the Pawars, which means Sharad Pawarji as the senior most and all the cousins and all the brothers. When we pay condolences to a family, the reference to context is obviously our leader, Eknathji Shinde and Devendra Fadnavis were present in Baramati. And I think, Zaka, if I can tell you, he's my neighbor, my immediate neighbor. And as a neighbor, I can only give you one anecdote that every morning from 6 a.m. to 7:30 a.m., there would be people outside and he would meet all of them as he did today also before leaving for Baramati. And as a deputy chief minister, as a finance minister, as an irrigation minister, 50 years is an incredible, incredible innings. And that innings shows you the kind of dedication of this mass leader. And as far as the dynamics of the internal politics is concerned, I only want to say that there is none. A lot of people have speculated about our leadership, but do understand Devendra Fadnavis and Eknathji Shinde and Ajit Pawar were triple engine Sarkar, and one engine less is a big void for Maharashtra. And if there are three, wheels of an auto rickshaw, one collapsing is a big loss to the state. So when Mamata Banerjee makes these kind of statements, it's very down market because lots of leaders, just one last point, Zaka, lots of leaders have lost lives, whether it's a Gopinath Munde, whether it's a Rajesh Pai, or Vijay Rupani. Views do, sometimes going by road, sometimes going by train, sometimes by helicopter, sometimes by airlines, and only for this, in this case, for the Jilla Parishad election. So having said that, please do view with sensitivity the kind of work that politicians put in public life too.
Yeah, no, so I don't want to get into the politics of it. Clearly, Mamata Banerjee has her own politics to play around this. But I want to get Captain Sam Thomas in this. And if we can play the latest pictures that we're getting, the CCTV footage, I don't know if you can see it, Captain. But in the last few seconds, as the flight, descends and is about to make a landing, you can see it sort of veer off path. Is there anything you can tell us from those pictures or what you've seen and heard and read all day today as to what could have possibly led to this? Because, the owner of the company, we spoke to him, he says the aircraft was in perfect condition. The pilot was very well qualified. She had, loads of flying hours under her. This whole question of visibility, the ATC had given clearance saying it's visible, 3,000 meter visibility, and then suddenly the pilot is asked to make a turnaround. It makes sense of this for our viewers.
Now, firstly, Zaka, it's very distressing for us to keep coming on air when the tragedies happen. And our heartfelt condolences to the family of the Honorable Minister. And our heart goes out to that little girl, Shambhavi Pathak, who was the co-pilot. And the captain was Sumit Kapoor, who was a few years senior to me. We worked as colleagues in Jet Airways, and he was predominantly in Sahara. So he's very well experienced. Now, as far as the data that we see through television or CCTV, it's not sufficient to even hazard a guess. So it would be a very, very wrong thing on my part to say that this could have happened. However, I understand that there is an element of curiosity with the viewers, and they would like to know, they would like answers quickly. Now, this is an uncontrolled airfield. When I say uncontrolled airfield, it's not like a Mumbai or a Delhi or say Chennai or Bangalore. It's an airfield that has a bare basic facilities, that does not have any navigational aids like the instrument landing system. And at this part of the year, this time of the
Yeah.
year, the visibility drops drastically. And here, the first attempt, it's pretty evident, given the limited resources. That's the reason why we came on the channel only in the evening after collecting whatever evidence we could. It's very evident that the visibility was not sufficient to spot the runway in time. That's why he has carried out a go around or a missed approach, what it's called. On a second attempt, I believe there was another go around, and this has happened on the third attempt as far as we've gathered so far. Now, unless we are given complete details on exactly what the DFDR had, what the ATC spoke, what was the response, and the parameters. One thing we'd like to alert you is to somehow tell the police administration that whenever incidents like this happen, cordon that area off. It has become a picnic spot again. It's just like the Air India 171. There are people trampling all over that site. That's a very critical evidence being destroyed right there. So, given the limited, very, very limited evidence, we would not be able to point out as to what the cause of the accident is. Visibility and uncontrolled airspace is one of the contributing factors.
So I do want to get Dr. Sushilan also on this. In terms of, we do know that there was communication between the traffic control and the cockpit, and they were given permission to land at about 8:43 a.m. The first attempt is made to descend. Within a few minutes, we can hear either the pilot or the co-pilot say that they're not able to spot the runway, so they are asked to make a turnaround. What is curious is that from whatever we have seen through either IMD weather reports or even reports emanating from local people there, the weather seemed to have been clear. Is it possible that there was a sudden weather event, maybe a passing burst of fog or something, as a result of which the captain was not able to see the runway and was asked to make the turnaround? And also, in the second attempt, when they're making this descending attempt to descend, you can see the aircraft veering off course. When or how does that normally happen, an aircraft veering off its trajectory?
No, I should say Baramati always have a clear, visibility. That's why we have a FT also there. There is a flying schools there in Baramati where the students take training every day. So now the last moment visibility problem when they had announced, because this is the second attempt they did for the landing. So now when it comes to Ajit Dada, because I had given them the aircraft multiple times they used to fly to Baramati. Few months back, the aircraft field was closed for the maintenance part. Now the airport, the runway had made it like a tabletop, which is under the Maharashtra Airport Development Corporation, who had developed this entire runway and made it like a tabletop now. So now you can see the aircraft had landed at 20 feet on the side of the runway. So definitely this visibility was an issue when we had checked, because I was in a Wings India air show, and we, along with the DG of Air Crash Investigation Bureau, we traveled together to Maharashtra for the investigation, and we saw this thing that the news which we had got and the communication which happened with the ATC. So initially they had asked that there's no visibility, they have to turn around and have to go for a second attempt to land. So now, I think, and basically we have to understand the Baramati airport doesn't have any fencing, any security. Even the information which we had got, the people who were the farmers nearby, they had saw this thing, they rushed to the site, they had taken some blankets and put on the bodies. This was the information we had got from the localites there. So definitely this is something alarming situation when it comes to airport, where we always have a VIP moments, because this is not the only time Ajit Dada is traveling to this airport. Every second day, because normally Monday to Friday he's in Mumbai, and Friday, Saturday, Sunday he's always in Baramati to meet the people. So this is the runway regularly used for the landing. So I think something definitely this we have to wait for the inquiry to come up the the clear picture what happened over there suddenly.
No, no,
And
I just
BSR
want two clarifications, Dr. Sushilan. One, the veering off course, what could it possibly be
is a
because of?
technical
And
fault.
second, as you said, it's a short distance, away from where the runway starts. So clearly the
Definitely.
captain couldn't see where the runway is starting.
No, basically they have not touched the runway also. They were not on the alignment of the runway. They were on the complete different side of the runway which they
Correct.
landed, where there was no runway. Definitely there was a visibility issue. And when we can see the flip of the aircraft before the landing, it means definitely there was some technical issue because the aircraft doesn't land this way. So I think this is some technical error,
Oh,
and we
okay.
have to wait for the report from the AAIB now.
Let me also get in Chandrasekhar Jha of the Sena UBT into this. Like I said, at the top to China NC, I think we should keep the politics aside of this entire thing. But,
Yes,
in Maharashtra,
especially today.
recently we saw the local body elections where the Pawar, clan had come together and fought together in places like Pune and Pimpri Chinchwad, etc. There was a lot of speculation about the unification of the two NCPs, the NCP Ajit Pawar faction and the NCP Sharad Chandra Pawar faction. What may happen now after the tragic demise of Ajit Dada Pawar?
See, today is a very sad state which has happened. An politician, a person in a tragedy has died, and there is nothing remains to do politics on this. Eventually, it is the purpose of investigation, all those facts, surmises, conjectures, speculations. We are not going into that. We should be in a sad state, and we should think about the family and the victim's
Okay.
family who has suffered. So these things are to be thought now. Second thing is that with regard to his party, that is the party line will decide all these things. There is no reason to do politics at this moment. After some times, the Mr. Sharad Pawar and others can decide on those issues. Eventually, it's a mourning time, and we should not discuss on all these issues because politics can happen even later stage.
No,
And
but
what we think that
about the basic questions that people will be curious to know as to what caused this accident? I mean, if the Deputy Chief Minister in a private chartered plane meets with this fate, then people will be asking questions about their own safety when it comes to flying.
yes, naturally, the purpose of safety has to be questioned. The safety, the investigation, what will the investigation will unearth? That will procure the reasons behind it. And if these reasons come out, then the things will be clear what has happened, how the things have happened.
China NC, again, I want to keep the politics aside. I want to mourn the fact that such a tall leader of Maharashtra has met such a tragic fate. Even today he was going there to campaign, to address some public meetings. But we can't distance oneself from, the utal-putal that's been happening in Maharashtra politics. And now again, there's a lot of speculation happening that, the two factions will merge and, under the leadership of Supriya Sule and she could, become the rightful claimant for the party, so on and so forth, and they will become members of the NDA. This is political speculation, but let's face it, because it's Maharashtra and because we've seen a lot of politics over the last 6 years there, this is fair game.
Is that question for me? Zaka, is that question
China
for
NC,
me?
yes.
Well, I don't think we should get into
That's for you.
politics
Correct.
today. Today, let's just mourn the tragedy. It has shocked Maharashtra. Whether NCP, they come together or don't, please let's not get into that. Let me please assure you all is well in the Mahayuti. Our leader, Eknathji Shinde, has been in Baramati all day, as has Devendra Fadnavis. And contrary to what media speculations people play out and all their own strategies of stories of succession, I don't think this is the day we can really even address that. This is the day to just go out and express your solidarity towards the family. Sunetra Baini, Jai Pawar, Parth Pawar, the extended Pawar family, which is, and contrary to what people say, And I know this for a fact, Zaka. Sharad Pawarji was very, very committed to every member of his family, irrespective of what happened. And likewise with Ajit Dada and be it Supriya Sule. So condolences to all of them. I think that politics will happen when it needs to. People do understand the kind of schedules that lead our own has also been elections.
Okay, Shaina, we're losing your audio. We'll just come back to you in a second. Let me ask Captain Sam Thomas this. You know, I think one of the previous guests said that Baramati was a VVIP constituency. I mean, there were tons of private chartered aircraft and choppers that would, you know, land and take off from there every single day. Yes, it may not have your modern instrument landing systems, etc., and other devices of modern aviation. But the fact that this was a VVIP aircraft with the Deputy Chief Minister in it, help us make sense of, you know, what we've seen in these pictures of A, it veering off course, and B, this whole turnaround that the captain was asked to take. Because again, you know, one of the previous speakers also mentioned that Baramati has clear weather most times of the year, and that's why there are, you know, these multiple flight training schools there in Baramati.
Very true. Baramati is one of the best places where you can have year-round good weather for flying. But in January and February, early February, you have this low-level fog up to about 8:30-ish. And with the rising sun, the fog tends to, you know, get a little bit more accentuated. And you must know that the aircraft was landing on runway 09, which is facing the east. And there is a rising sun from the east. So this time there is a problem actually spotting the runway. A person on ground may think that there is good visibility. And indeed, for a person not flying an airplane, that's great visibility. However, when you're approaching the runway with a rising sun and fog present, it can be very, very tricky. And when you're showing these images over and over again, as we are sitting and analyzing these images, one of the possibilities is that this is a clear-cut indication of late spotting of the runway. The moment you spot the runway late, you bank excessively to get to that. And Zaka, I should tell you that there is extra pressure on pilots when we carry VVIPs. Because some sort of, if you recollect, the CDS Bipin Rawat was being flown in a very modern helicopter by the CEO of the squadron. There was a Lok Sabha speaker, Mr. Bali Yogi. There was YSR in Andhra.
Correct.
All these people have had tragic deaths due to what we came to know later, that pressure on the pilots to accomplish that mission, not explicitly telling that go and land here. But when we take a VVIP, there is always a secretary or somebody coming and telling us that, hey, look, it's very important that this person reaches there at this time. So there are pressures on pilots to go above and beyond their capabilities. Zaka.
So that's one pressure, definitely, no doubt about it. This is something that pilots have been flagging concerns about for a number of years, and this needs to be addressed. But Dr. Sushrilan, there's also the other side, which is, you know, viewers who are watching this program, constant flyers, people who, fly commercial. We still haven't got answers for what happened 6 months ago with AI 171. How do we expect to know what exactly happened to this particular aircraft? The owner of the company, for example, the VSR Aviation, Mr. Singh, he has spoken to reporters today and he said it's perfectly well maintained. In fact, he said that just a few days ago, Ajit Pawar had apparently flown the exact same aircraft. So he is standing by the airworthiness of his aircraft. And because of this environment where we haven't really got to the root cause of what previous accidents were as a result of, there is a trust deficit that a lot of people think is happening when it comes to getting to the bottom of aviation crashes in India. Dr. Sushrilan.
I should say that he was flying this aircraft for very long. Even last Maharashtra election, I was flying with Ajit Dada personally in all the sectors for his campaigning. I know how much depth information he always keep about the aircraft. Whenever anyone used to give them the aircraft to fly anywhere, he always used to check that how old is the aircraft. If the aircrafts are very old, he always has to check is the the refurbish of the aircraft was done or not. Even the 6th of December was his son's wedding in Bahrain. And I was there, was handling his charters. I was handling his aircraft. And he was said like I don't want any aircraft which is more than 4 years old. And he was technically very sound person, and definitely if he's boarding some aircraft, he always used to check this thing. So definitely, and regarding the VSR statement, yes, that was correctly. I also checked with the entire DGCA report. The aircraft was completely under the regular checks. Everything was fine with this aircraft. But there is one more question. September 2023, there was the same Legacy 45 was got skid in the
Correct.
aircraft in Mumbai. So this is the second this similar type of accident happened where the same company. So definitely, I think the DGCA will have to act on this, and we have to get some report. And regarding the
So I'll
safety
give
point
Shaina
of
the
view,
final word. You look at the high-profile air crashes that involve politicians or otherwise. Y.S. Rajshekhar Reddy, Mr. Balayogi. Somehow the feeling is that we don't get to know the exact cause of what led to it. Was it mechanical failure? Was it engine failure? Was it pilot error? Even the latest example of the AI-171, we still don't know what caused that air crash.
So I think sometimes it's destiny too, right, Zaka? Because birth and death you leave to the whatever the gods choose. Having said that, that can only be a rationale for the family. The technical faults, or if there was a possibility of fuel error, or if it was low visibility, all of this should be in the public domain to make sure that other leaders don't need to suffer in the future, or they also take it very seriously. But as they were saying here, Ajit Dada was a very technically sound person, and he, as an administrator, I'm sure he knew all the kind of prerequisites when you're flying private or when you're going by road, etc.
Okay.
So, having said that, I don't think this is the time to get into a post-mortem. Right now is only the time for prayers for his family.
Okay. Oh, okay. We'll leave it at that. China NC, Mr. Chandrasekhar Jha, Dr. Sushilan, and Captain Sam Thomas. Thank you very much for joining us. I want to end on that same note. Our thoughts and prayers and condolences to Mr. Ajit Dada Pawar's family and his legions of supporters.